So hello friends of the French Legion, I am greeting you. You are very welcome on my channel. Hello and good morning everybody out there. This morning I promised you a breakfast with Gast, Frühstück mit Gast, but unfortunately that cannot happen because the weather forecast is terrible, is horrible. We have too much wind, it's too dry, and it is absolutely forbidden to make fire outdoor in the woods, in the forest. And that's what I planned, to make a fire, to make a breakfast for and with you. But tomorrow is another day, and I think I can do it even whether tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Promised. No, weather, you know, I cannot handle the weather. And it's not worse the case when I burn down the woods, burn down the forest for make a breakfast with you. I think that you understand. I know that you understand. Instead of that, I will tell you about the most psychological, horrible moment for me in my life, or moments for me in my life, happened in the French Legion, in my life as a Legionnaire. You know, Brazzaville, Congo-Brazzaville, 1997, June, 7th of June. My section rushed in an ambush. And when the ambush was finished, we had about 1 dead, 6 or 7 legionnaires wounded in combat, seriously wounded. When I went to combat before, everything was good, everything was okay. I did not have fear in my heart, not fear in my soul. This time I had. But let me tell you, before I come to this point, let me tell you another thing. When the combat was over, when the ambush was over, from one moment to the other, it was silence. You know? In this second, to my left, if you know what I want to tell you, you heard noise of the machine guns, of all kind of bullets flying everywhere, of rocket-propelled grenades, of hand grenades creeping, you know. It was battlefield noises. And then, on the other moment, it was maybe 3 hours after the beginning of the ambush, it was silence. It was silence. You could hear a fly flying in the air. It was silence. And I remember very well, it was in nighttime. It was dark, it was nighttime. I stood up, I took off my helmet, I took my FAMAS in my right hand. I went from the place I was lying to the road. It was the Avenue Surcha. I made a left turn, walked down the Avenue Surcha, and from far I could see one of my men sitting on the road. And when I come closer, I have seen it was Jefferson, Premier Class Jefferson. It was a Legionnaire coming from New Zealand. And when I came closer again, I saw that he was covered all over in blood. And when I was very close to him, I could see that he had a bullet traversed his head from the right to the left, right here. It was a hole like this. And it was a wonder that he was still alive. He was looking at me like to say, "Chef, everything is okay." So he nodded a little bit his head. But maybe his eyes wanted to tell me that, "Why did you contact me here in combat? It was your fault." So I never knew what his eye wanted to tell me this evening. So I put my hand on his right shoulder, and I could see that the first aid team was already on the way. So they would take care about him. And I prayed. But what was psychological hard? First, the eyes of Jefferson. I can see the eyes in my dreams, not knowing if they have told me, "Hey chef, everything is okay, don't worry about me," or if they rather like to say, it's your fault. I don't know, because you brought me here to combat. And the second thing, psychological thing, is that just before going this evening out to the ambush, I received a call from my wife from Corsica telling me that she was pregnant. Pregnant with my first child ever. And you know, when you receive a message like this, hey, I'm expecting a baby. And 2 hours later, you go out making combat. You must make combat. And you fall into an ambush. And imagine now the psychological deal, the psychological thing I had in my head was, okay, my wife is pregnant. I will have a child, and maybe I will never ever see this child because I have to go out there not knowing at this moment that we will fall in an ambush. And it works in me, psychological. There was a lot of work going on in my brain. So we went out this night, we fall into an ambush, and I wasn't there. I was not there. My body was there, the warrior was there, but I was not there with my heart. I was not there with my thoughts. After the combat was finished, I thought over and over and over again all the scene, all things happen in the field. And I came to the conclusion that I was not the warrior. In this night, I was not the warrior I used to be. I was not the warrior everybody expected me to be. Because there was something going around in my brain. And for a soldier, going out to make combat, in the condition when you have fear, is the baddest thing you can do in your life. So I had to struggle. I had to struggle this evening with making decisions, fighting, giving orders, taking care of my men. Everything was hard. Everything was like in trance. Everything was out of the world. And to tell you, really, I was not the soldier I meant to be this evening in Congo Brazzaville, 7th of June, 1997. You know, I was weak. This evening, this night, this terrible night, I was weak. And of course, my soldiers have seen that something happened with me, something very unusual. Of course, I felt the weight of the men watching me. And I felt their eyes on my shoulder, in my back. And this was hard to live with. And even back in Calvi then, in Conrafali, I always felt that the Legionnaires looked at me in another way. It was not like before. And the eyes I crossed told me about a not fulfilled mission. They told me about my fear. They told me about weakness. And I couldn't handle the eyes. I couldn't handle the eyes of Jefferson. I couldn't handle the situation, having had fear in a very important moment in my life. The good thing was that afterwards, I was there, and I could take my daughter, my newborn daughter, in my arms. But the price was very high. So this was the most intense moment, not the most intense, but the most psychological intense moment, negative moment in my life as a Legionnaire. And these days, I took the decision to leave the French Legion for the good. And for me, it's still hardcore when I sometimes look movies of war in television. Always brings me back to Congo Brazzaville. Always remind me something. That's why I avoid to switch on the television. you know. So if you like what you see, if you like my channel, just subscribe and give me your thumbs up and activate the bell that you don't miss a video with Thomas Gast anymore. Thanks, brothers. Amitié Legionnaire, yours Thomas Gast. Bye bye.